What's up, guys? In today's video, I'll be going over the most recent build of Tri-Brigade created, Tri-Brigade Horus. As of the last YCS Richmond, in round 10, there was a very interesting deck that made the feature match, and it was this deck. Though this isn't the exact build they played most likely, I still think this is the best interpretation I have of it. So starting off, we have 3 copies of Fractal, 3 copies of Kit, 2 copies of Chaos, and 2 copies of Nerval. It may be weird running 2 copies of Nerval and something that isn't Tri-Splite, but I'm using the same logic here because since we're running this this Nimble package with the Splite cards, Nerval it's not as good as Kit because of it not being level 2. So we need level 2s more than the Nerval. And it may feel good to have multiple Nerval just to get all those searches, and sometimes you may burn through all of them. I still feel like it's fine enough to at least have 2 of it. For the Horus cards, we have 3 copies of Insetti, 1 Happy, and 1 King Sark. So you could run either Happy or the one that draws. It doesn't matter that much, but I like Happy as it's able to recycle some of your better cards and even non-engine too, which is pretty nice. So for the Nibble package, just Triple Beaver, 2 Angler. For the monster hand traps, we have 3 Nibiru, 3 Ash, and 3 Baylor. As you can see, this deck has a lot of non-engine space, which is one of its key advantages. Besides that, its engine pieces have the ability to do a lot. I can't really say play through an eruption too well because ashing Mseti is still really tough. We have ways to bait Ash in other ways just because there are definitely other cards you want to stop. Like using Fractal effect first and then going Mseti, since Mseti is so much better to use and making zombie vampires crazy. For the spells, we have 1 King Sark, 1 1-for-1, 3 Tenki, and 3 Talent. King Sark, only 1 King Sark, since this card isn't too bad to draw, as it still gets you to your engine. You have already a lot of cards to pitch off of it, like Angler, Kit, or Nerval. So I think running 1 is fine, and even if you draw this with the Mseti, you could still pitch the Mseti and send a Happy, which does feel kind of bad, but running 2 Gold Sark, King Sark feels much worse. 1 1-for-1 as being able to extend into Nerval is still a powerful play, even though we don't value it as much in this kind of deck. But if you pitch a Tri-Beast off the 1-for-1, it can become a 1-card combo because the Scarecrow Light Hurt. 3 Tenki, as having 6 Fractal makes this pretty consistent access and allows you to bait the Ash more. As if you have something like the Fractal and the Mseti, you can go Fractal first, which will most likely force an Ash due to the power of Fractal, and then you can follow it with an Mseti. And if you pitch Angler, you essentially win the game from that point. I've done this at least 5 times already. It's insane. 3 Talent. This deck can definitely play through a couple hand traps decently well, and then either hand rip or draw if you really need it. So I think the card is still pretty good in here. And for the traps, we have 3 Imperm, 1 Revolt. Imperm, good against everything. And so is Valor. There isn't a card that I would play over it personally in the main deck, as this still covers a good amount of matchups and is at least okay in all of them. So I think you could run something else like Droplet, but with all the cards that neg your hand advantage, like the Mseti and the Sark, it's usually the Sark, so you don't really want to use Droplet that much. And then the 1 Revolt, one of your craziest interruptions, being able to reset your graveyard, get a search, get a non-target banish, it's so strong, and leads into an OTK by itself on the crackback. For the extra deck, we have 1 copy of Lightheart, 1 Fergie, 1 Bearbrum, 1 DDL, 1 Little Knight, 1 Doom Eagle, double Sharag, 1 Appaloosa, 1 Access Code Talker, 1 Sprint, 1 IP, 1 Gigantic Splite, 1 Zombie Vampire, and 1 copy of number 90 Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord. So for the links, the 1 Fergie, you don't really, it feels good to run more than 1, at least for me, because I like being able to go into it in for the follow-up. But with everything else in the extra deck is it pulls their own weight. So I feel like having 1 of it is the fine enough ratio. It's not even it even comes up every game or even match. Lighthearts here is It's like really good to help you play through interruptions. Like especially like your fractal gets ash, you can normal kit and then banish that and like combo from there. You can also just banish it, make the sprint as well, even if you already use the kit effect to send and the nerf will effect to search. So Lightheart is still an extremely good card, and also just gives you more tribes in the graveyard. You get one, you banish one, and then you link off the two, so that's also really good. Bear Rum gets you access to Revolt. Discard effect. It came up in one of the combos I showed in the last video, but it's not gonna be used that often as you don't run like something like the Fabled Cerebral. DDL, one of your best summons off your Tri names that isn't a Tri-Brigade, as like it can send your other cards, and if you're sending something like Tenki, it's absolutely free to bounce cards your opponent controls the hand. And pitching something like Angler is also really good as well, as we don't have too many ways to do it. It's really just Mseti, DDL, and Bearbrum. One Little Knight card's extremely powerful. It's going to be one of your primary end board pieces, and since it actually requires to affect monsters, it allows you to get an interruption while linking off the Bearbrum to get you to a revolt. So it's also really good for that purpose. One Doom Eagle for a Link 3. This is usually just used for like our crackback OTK to make a 5300 access code talker. Over Rugal, as we don't really need Rugal necessarily. There's no Almirage, so we're not doing like the Almirage play where you summon the Bearbrum and then link off the two into the Rugal. So I just decided to play the better card. Double Shurag. You need one for like some of your turn one combos, even though you don't actually have to do it that often anymore, because of the sprint line. And then the second one is for your revolt, of course. The one Appaloosa, one of Tri-Brigade's strongest end board pieces. There's still ways to make this, even if we go for the line with the sprint, as sometimes if you have enough bodies on field, you can still just make an IP and link it off into this. Or the Little Knight. Depends on the scenario. Access code for OTKs. Sprint just being a broken combo card in this deck. Yeah, IP as said before, just a way to make Appaloosa even still, or just abuse Little Knight's double interruptions. And then the Gigantic, just it allows you to actually turn the sprint into your Tri-Brigade engine, and though it locks you and that hurts a bit, as long as you have enough bodies on field, you can still make decent boards, or at the bare minimum, you can still get to Little Knight Revolt after like playing through one of the two hand traps. One Vampire, this is one of the primary rewards of your Horus engine. Just being able to use almost a mini Ishizu effect is so strong, and reborning from either player's graveyard too. I haven't actually reborn from my opponent's graveyard yet, but like that can come up, and it can be really good. And like sending kits and nervals, like really good as well. Sending extra guys so that you don't have to pitch off King Sark and still reborn them is also really good as well. Actually, that doesn't even make sense. Like, I mean, still thinning it's nice, so you don't have to draw it, I guess. And then one copy of the Photon Lord, just so like if you already have like you can already combo and have the M-Seti and like can resolve it, you can make the Photon Lord so you don't lose to Nibiru. And like it's also like your better end board piece. I don't think there are many other rank 8s. This card is quite expensive though. Like absurdly, this card's like $80, I think, when I last checked. So if you were to play something else, I'd probably just play a Typhon. For the side deck, we have 3 Droll, 2 Crow, 3 Dark Ruler, 2 Lightning Storm, 1 Duster, 1 Called By, and triple anti-spell. Droll, just, I don't want to lose to the combo decks. That's also why Nib is in main. But I feel like Nib is more overall good. It's like I can hit more things, especially like if your opponent plays into it. Like Droll, like it's not good against Unchained. It's not even good like Branded Synchro. It's like an awkward card to use. Like sometimes it's insane, and sometimes it doesn't feel that good. But Nib's reward is much stronger, which is why I have it in main. Crows. This is for specific matchups. It works with your engine as it is a Tri-Beast, searchable off Shurag, and like it's also it's better against Unchained and Purely, as you can banish things that Bystials normally wouldn't be able to, like the Lily target or the Shiyama. Before the effect, before they actually use the effect, though, because it'll still destroy the card, and you don't want them getting that free plus for the summon of the monster. Dark Ruler, again, don't want to lose to this combo deck, so there's... Or some decks that just go all in with their field, I guess, as well. Double Lightning Storm Duster for the back row. One Called By for going first. Shifter Hearts. Yeah. Basically any variant of Tri-Brigade loses the Shifter, unless it's like the Splites, since you run such a low package and like you can still end on a Renegade and maybe some other stuff. And then Anti-Spell for going first, as it's just one of the best going first cards and stops nearly everything that you lose to. There is an argument to play Judgment over it, though, because this deck does lose pretty hardly evenly. But being able to stop stuff like the Dark Ruler is especially powerful. So this was my Tri-Brigade Horus list. I hope you enjoy. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you did. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.